5, 4, 3, 2. Yo, what up, good fam? You are now tuned into the BHURDE podcast, a new platform for free thought, real exchange, and positive change, branded together, all to empower you.
Because over here, you know that to be real and to be felt, you must first be heard.
Yes, ma'am.
What's up?
What's good, Dom?
We in the building.
We are back in the building again and again.
Where my dogs at?
That's behind the scenes stuff. Why you be making me act up, Dom?
Double R.
Oh my God.
We're riders.
Following up. Who we got with us, Dom?
We got a special guest, y'all.
Indeed. Very special, very special.
Hey, girl, hey.
Hey.
Introduce yourself, ma'am.
I am Joyce Erickson.
Hey.
I am a psychotherapist based in D.C., Maryland area.
Okay.
The DMV, y'all.
Nice to have you.
Nice to have
nice to be
Joyce.
here.
I am happy to be here.
Our resident therapist.
Yes. It's official?
Expert
It's
for
official?
the day.
Okay.
Yes.
All right.
We have lots of questions for you.
I got
Indeed.
answers.
Okay. Because it's a real, we've been saying it every week that we've been in here. We've had our little joys and pleasure with our Sunday fun day, COVID bubble, our pandemic bubble in here, So it's a safe space, creative space, and everything that we got going on here at Provision 14. But why we here is because there's so much madness going on out there. And we need someone to tell us what's going on.
How do we deal with it? And how do we deal with the people who are not dealing with it?
Right.
We need to know how to help our friends.
Yeah.
Well, first, you must help yourself.
Okay. All right.
Right?
Y'all heard it.
Right? You can't help anybody unless you help yourself. You know
Yeah.
that thing when you're on the airplane, you got to put your oxygen mask on first.
There you go.
Right. So I think self-care is important. Self-awareness. Like, you have to first recognize, like, okay, what is going on with myself?
Okay.
What are the signs and symptoms that you see? I mean, a common thing right now, I think everybody has going on is depression and anxiety.
Yeah.
Anxiety because we don't even know what's going on, right? Every day is something else.
Right.
It's just like, oh my God,
Right.
what's next? Or so much stress with everything, finances, health,
Absolutely.
just everything.
Absolutely.
2020 has been crazy.
It has been.
Crazy.
It has been. Man, crazy ain't even the word. I don't even know what like.
So let's get into some of the crazy.
Let's go.
I have a list here.
Dom's so organized. I love it.
I think it's going to become a running list as we move on.
Okay.
But
We like to do part twos around
a few
here.
people that have during this time, some celebrities that have been going through some things that we just need to unpack.
Yeah.
Maybe
Okay.
you can help us understand.
Yeah.
Okay, I'll try.
Yeah.
So I would like to start with the entanglement.
Entanglements. Yeah, the chicken and the cheese is entanglements.
Will and Jada?
I would like to speak about Will, Jada, and
August Al.
Baby August.
Oh, Og. Og.
Oh,
Baby
God.
August.
Do we
When
have
Will
enough time
called
for
him
that?
Og, I was like, bruh.
He's their son. So, I mean, he said he was having, well, not he said, he really was having an issue, right? He was having a mental, I don't know.
He was like he was
right?
battling like depression, bipolar. He was dealing with like high anxiety, like all in
I
one.
think he had some like physical health issues too,
Yeah,
right?
yeah, and he had a lot of stuff happening with his family too that like was causing it too.
Mm-hmm.
So
do we think that, ma'am, Miss Pinkett Smith,
That woman.
did she take advantage of him and his mental state?
I think it could be looked at in various ways.
okay,
Because she does, from the outside looking in, she does look like a predator almost.
yeah,
Because it's just like you see this person
Predator, cougar.
that's going through all these things, and you kind of like you're taking advantage of his state, right, for
Yeah.
your own
Yeah,
personal gain. I guess for her own pleasure and personal gain. She did say that she had some codependency things going on. So maybe it's like, I had this
she
person.
wanted to feel pretty again.
Right. So I have this person that can come and depend on me and I can take care of. Because I think in her relationship with Will, I'm pretty sure he was the provider and the one taking care of her.
Okay.
So it's like, all right, so now let me go and do this for someone else. So, I mean, that could be that too. And then, I mean, also, she may be looking at herself as more so like a hero. Let me go and save this person. He needs my help.
Captain
I'm gonna.
Save-a-ho? That was from college.
She's the captain, though. She's the.
I'm the captain now.
That's what she told all.
Maybe.
Oh my gosh.
I don't know.
But I like what Joyce said, but I want to unpack that some more. Like the broken, attempting to heal the broken. Right. That happens a lot, especially like in our community, not just with what's happening on today, because it's a lot of it happening today. It's just coming out to the forefront. But why is that such a prevalent thing of like the broken, the downtrodden, the beaten, always going to try to seek and help others when they themselves are the ones, just like Jada Pinkett Smith admitted, that I'm the one that actually needed help. The help.
I mean, because sometimes you see yourself in other people, or you're projecting your own issues onto other people. Oh, projection is something that can go on for days. A lot of people.
That's why you hear
project.
Joyce. That's why you hear.
So maybe she saw something in him that was within herself, and she wanted to go save him. Oh my God, it could be so many reasons. But I mean, at the end of the day, she's not a mental health professional,
right?
So I don't know how much saving she could have done.
Yeah.
It's kind of hard looking from the outside in. We can only go by what they say, but I mean, she
Such
did
a clinical
admit.
Answer. I like
she did admit.
Right, she's keeping it so clinically PC.
Do your thing.
But she did admit to having codependency problems. I mean, I feel like she was more so of a predator. She took advantage of him. It was more so for her personal gains and to fulfill her own needs.
Absolutely.
Like this person that needs me,
Absolutely.
Because at the end of the day, she kind of just, her and Will got back together and she threw him away.
She got what she needed. She got her cup. She got her cup full, literally.
And he's hurt because he's still talking about it. Like they've been broken up for like how long now?
Some years, I thought.
Has it? That's how long it's been?
Yeah, so when he brought it up, I mean, she said it happened like a long time ago.
Did she say 4 years? I don't know.
4 years ago?
Maybe
he brought
4
it up
or
like
1
it just
year.
happened this year.
Yeah.
It's been a while. Because remember, he came out with that song. And people were speculating. I think that was like a year ago. And they were just like, are they dating?
With the album art that like references to her name or something like that, something crazy. Yeah.
Something.
I don't listen.
Yeah.
He had like a coded like cover art to Jada or something weird or whatever like that. I don't know.
His love.
Yeah.
He said that was the love of his life.
He said, and that's why I do, like, at first I was like, man, this dude's not crazy. Like, he's just a dude, brokenhearted. But then when you say something like, I can die right now and be good.
That is deep.
Very deep.
Is that love or is that mental?
I think love is subjective. People look at love in so many different ways. If you feel like you've loved enough to the point where I could die tomorrow and be happy, I mean, I haven't experienced a love like that.
Yet. Keyword
So,
yet. Yet. It's still possible.
I mean, but I don't know if that's
I don't know if anybody, I've never ever heard anyone say
to say like, I mean, I haven't experienced it, so I don't know. But I mean, I think that's him and his mental state. He's still in love with her.
I do believe that.
He's definitely still in love. He's not over it. She really and he was in a fragile state. I don't think he's completely healed yet.
Heck no.
I think that he still needs, if he has even gotten the therapy or treatment that he needed.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's what I was gonna say.
Because
he got the therapy.
If they've been broken up,
he got the therapy.
Because if you've been broken up and you're still talking about it,
therapy.
If you've been broken up and you're still talking about it, then what's going on here?
Oh well, Augie.
I just
make sure you keep getting the help you need.
Something, yeah. I mean, because that's to me, that's the big thing that I looked at it at the end of it. It's just like, dang, like, okay, Will and Jada did their thing publicly on Red Table Talk, but he's still broken.
He is.
Yeah,
You
but,
know, if
but,
not,
I mean,
if anything, even more so.
she probably still is too. I mean, that's why she has the whole red table, right?
That's true.
To keep talking about these issues that I don't know.
I think that's very therapeutic for her.
Yeah.
But I mean, her and Will have talked about. I think before she even said like she's always had issues of like loving herself and like her own issues of like being happy, trying to figure out what makes her happy.
Yeah.
That's so she.
So I think she's still going through her thing and trying to figure out life. But I mean, with August, I feel like she did kind of prey on him, but also this was a married woman.
Yeah.
Regardless if they were separated or you thought whatever, you know, at the end of the day, like when you deal with somebody that's married, you kind of end up where he is right now. They're back together and
okay. So what's the preventative measures? Like you might be heartbroken, or the person that you're dealing with might be heartbroken or something like that. On a clinical level, what's the big thing that you have to look for when you're dealing with someone on that level? A red flag.
Hold on.
What, yeah.
Can we hold your question?
Okay.
And come right back to it. Red flag.
I like when Dom gets excited. I like when Dom gets excited.
To another item on the list. Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
Don't forget it.
Do you think?
Don't forget it.
I won't. Joyce, you don't forget it either.
all right, I'll make a mental note.
All right.
Got it.
So,
Got it.
speaking of red flags, Married at First Sight.
Oh,
do you watch
I don't
that?
watch that show.
Oh my gosh!
But I know you watch it.
She loves it. She loves it.
This season, it's popping this season. They in the NOLA, baby. They in New Orleans, right? So we have a couple, Karen and Miles, while on the honeymoon. Okay.
Wait, was this the black couple?
Yes.
And the he disclosed like he has depression. Okay.
Yes.
Continue. Okay.
Yes.
I'm
on
familiar.
the honeymoon, he told her, mind you, this is what, like 4 days in? He told her, well, I want to let you know, hanging out by the pool, sipping a little drink, okay, I have clinical depression. I've been diagnosed with clinical depression, but I have a good handle on it. I've been getting help. I go to therapy. I have medication that I take. He kind of like just, you know, hey, wife of 6 days, this is what's going on.
Yeah.
And so she was like, first her face was like, what? Wait, I'm sorry. So in her,
dang, this
in
is a
her
good one,
interview,
actually.
her confessional, she said, you know, it's like that was a red flag for me.
Yeah.
Like, how am I supposed to deal with somebody who has this mental issue?
Yeah.
How am I supposed to know, you know, how to help him? It wasn't, her reaction to it wasn't like, okay, well, you know, like, tell me more.
Right.
How can I help you? It was just like, well, how am I supposed to know when you have an episode or something? It was something to that effect. So your red flag question.
Yes.
is that a red flag?
I wouldn't call it, because I mean that's kind of insensitive to say that somebody with a mental illness, it's a red flag, but it would be a concern. Because dealing with someone,
take some notes. That
right.
was a good reframe. Okay, all right.
Because in a relationship or just even a family member, somebody with mental illness, it's a lot to deal with. It's a lot, and especially depending on what mental illness is. So you're in a relationship with somebody that has clinical depression.
Yeah.
So one day things may be good, the next day he may be really sad. Sometimes it may take a toll on you. It can affect your self-esteem and your own mental health, because it's just like, I'm trying and I'm doing everything, but this person still isn't happy. Jeez. So you may also have to go into your own therapy.
Yeah.
So I mean that's a lot. That's a long. If you're really into the marriage for the long term, that is a lot. That is a concern.
True.
And it's not her being selfish. Like, this is a marriage concern. And also, I mean, mental illness is hereditary. So then you have children that you're possibly going to have with this person. Dang. So what if my child also may have depression or even something as minimal as, I mean, not minimal, but they may also have ADHD.
Yeah.
So it's just like, that's a lot to deal with. I mean, you're just more likely to have a child.
But what about trusting the fact that the person that you chose to love, or
she didn't choose him.
In the man of the show.
They chose for her.
Mom loves this
and
show.
she secretly
get her on set
saw his Instagram the night before the wedding and decided that she didn't really want to marry him, or she didn't know. And then she called the man emotional. He's too sensitive.
Yeah, she was labeling him after that.
Right after the Instagram. This is before he told her. So then when he told her, in her mind, I'm pretty sure she was like, this is why his Instagram he always.
But she has to.
But
she should have been able to trust that he is doing the right steps to be healthy, right? Especially if he's being transparent with her, if he's not feeling good or feeling well.
But I mean, sometimes you can be taking the right steps, but at the end of the day, like especially when your depression is so severe that you need medication, it's really hard. I mean, some people manage it.
That's sad, man.
But it's hard. It's a struggle. It's an everyday struggle, one day at a time. It's a lot, and then to be married to someone like it's a lot to deal with.
That's true.
It's not for everybody.
But they deserve love too. You know, like
not that he doesn't. But I mean, that's something that you should know before you marry someone.
If you want my honest opinion, I think a lot of people, couples, married or married or not, are dealing with a lot of mental illnesses, just not diagnosed. I really think it's a lot of people, especially in our community, the black community, the urban community, whatever you want to label it. I really think it's a lot of people walking around day by day, just as much as we don't, go to the doctors enough and stuff like that. I really think that we're going around undiagnosed with traumas, with triggers, with stimuli that's going on. Like,
so there's a stigma against getting the help that you need, going to therapy.
Right? Yeah.
It's a bad.
Yeah. Because if you go, you're immediately going to be labeled something
as what?
More.
I mean, you don't have to be late. Sometimes you don't have to look at it. Don't look at it as if like, okay, I have this diagnosis and I need to go seek treatment for it. Just like you just kind of want to deal with the symptoms and not let on. Because I think people are too stuck on, I am depressed, or I have depression, or I have bipolar, or I have schizophrenia. Like, sometimes that's a lot. I mean, because I've had some people that don't want to go to treatment because it's like, well, I'm not depressed.
Yeah.
I don't want to go. I'm not depressed. And sometimes, I mean, it could be an acute depression. It could be a situational thing. Like, you don't have to focus too much on the diagnosis. I mean, sometimes that's just for billing purposes. Of course, we have to give you a diagnosis in order to build the insurance.
That's real.
But like,
now I know. Dropping gems.
I mean, that's like when you go to any doctor. Like when they bill for the services, it has you need a diagnosis in order to bill.
Need
like,
a cause.
What if there's nothing wrong with me? I just felt like I needed to talk to you for a second. What do you bill my doctor?
There's codes for that. I mean, there's a code for everything, girl. It's a code for everything.
Okay.
It can be billed.
I love it.
But that's just
so. Do you think that some people get misdiagnosed because of that?
That would be bad. I mean, but your diagnosis can always change.
Okay.
Like, this is not something that has to stick with you forever. It can always change. I mean,
like change, get better.
Get better or for
get
worse.
I mean,
or we'll just call it more severe. Like when you start to even because like I mean we're not psychic. You can start to see somebody, especially like when you see a psychiatrist for medication. They don't see you as often as you're just going to see your regular therapist. Yeah. Psychiatrist is usually like once a month. Yeah. And it's a quick visit.
Okay.
So whatever that diagnosis is, but then you see your therapist for a longer term, for a longer period of time, and it's just like, okay, well, maybe initially I thought you had this, but then maybe down the line you may discover, okay, well maybe it's not that, it's something else. Like for example, somebody may just have had depression, but then after long-term treatment, just like, all right, you're recognizing like, oh, maybe this person does have like bipolar 1 or bipolar 2. It's just not that. I mean, usually it's like a similar diagnosis that it may change, but it's just like sometimes it's just not always what it seems in the beginning. But and also people aren't as transparent in therapy at times too. That's true. Or you're seeing things from a certain lens or like from a certain point of view. Yeah.
But you're not going to go to the therapist and just start. I've gone to therapy, and the first time I went, I was like, look, first of all, I don't even know you. So I'm not.
And that's the beauty of it, though, because you don't know me. You can tell me whatever you want. It's just like, I don't know her. Like,
yeah. Well, after like the third time, then I'm like, okay, I'm comfortable with you. Now I can just kind of tell you everything that I don't like about my family, right? Well, not that I don't like, but things that were bothering me at the time.
Yeah.
And she did give me some really good advice.
That's good.
Right?
That's
so
good.
it helped.
Well, she shouldn't have gave you advice though.
Well, not advice. Well,
Okay.
maybe it wasn't advice, but there were suggestions. Like, well, perhaps have you thought about this? What about something like this? Maybe if you have to have some time to yourself, then it's okay to not answer the phone sometimes, like stuff like that. So it was interesting, but it was helpful, and I think we were supposed to like stop at a certain point. We only had a certain amount of sessions, and then when we reached that session cap, she was like, look, I'm not supposed to see you anymore, because it was like free through my job.
Okay, EAP.
So yeah, she was like, but I mean, I think you still need some help in some areas, so I'm just gonna kind of like put something in to extend it for you.
That's
and I
nice.
mean, at the time I didn't know what she was talking about, but when you're talking about the billing situation, I guess somebody had to pay for those sessions, because I didn't even have to do a copay.
Are you just saying that your therapist committed fraud? That's what it sounds like.
Oh shit.
No, she didn't. No. I don't think she did.
This is why we got Joyce on the job, man. This is why we got Joyce on the job.
I'm sorry, girl. I didn't say who, but they don't know who it was or where it was.
This is why we got Joyce on the job.
I mean, but it was also for, I don't know if it's different, because it was grief therapy. Like my mom died, so like I thought I was gonna be able to like just keep it moving, you know?
Yeah.
And my friends told me, they're like, girl, you're not gonna be able to keep it moving. You should maybe consider. And then when I got back to work, my principal was like, well, we do have, as a part of, the union, you do have some options. Like, I'm going to give you this pamphlet, and, you make some decisions. Yeah. So it was through that. I don't know if it was different. But
no, that's I'd say it was EAP, Employment Assistance Program.
Yeah.
And that's always short term limited. But then, I mean, you had health insurance.
Yeah.
You could have just went through your health insurance.
Oh well, but then by that point, I was like cool with her.
Right.
And
that's the hard part too.
She referred me. Now, of course, it did have to end eventually, and she referred me to another. She gave me 3 different people that I could kind of check out. Okay. And she said, I think that you would like these people because of, like, she gave me reasons why I would like them. So, but I never went. I was just like, well, I guess I'm okay now.
Oh, why didn't you?
I didn't really want to switch. And I mean, it had been, I don't know, I guess it had been like 2 months. 2 or 3 months.
That was short.
Yeah, I felt like I had enough tools to manage.
Yeah. That's good.
But I feel like you should always, if you feel something is off, go back.
But you benefited from it though.
Definitely.
That's what it was for. Yeah.
If I hadn't done that, I would probably be like
what I was waiting
a crazy person.
That's what I was waiting to hear.
A crazy person.
Okay.
For sure.
You probably wouldn't have been a crazy person.
Oh,
you probably would just had a more difficult time getting through it.
Yeah.
You might have figured it out on your own.
Eventually, but
way
later. Yeah.
Because of my sister went, I went. My brother, he didn't go. So, people are still working through things.
Yeah.
And I encourage it, especially after you go through a loss like that. You got to get some help, because you literally do feel like you are going to go crazy.
Absolutely.
I felt like I was like, I'm going to like burn this house down if somebody don't come in here and tell me why I feel like you just feel weird.
I like that you, I expect nothing less with you either, but I like that you went the healthier route for yourself. Like it wasn't something that someone had to, beat down your door with, anything like that. You actually wanted to get better for you.
Yeah, because you cannot live like that and be okay.
Yeah.
And do your everyday activities.
Yeah, but it's such a stigma behind it, like it's, to try to at least just get mentally fit and mentally prepared for your own self, and you know, the things that you have to go through and stuff. Like, why, you know, how do we beat the stigma? Why is there a stigma, Joyce?
Great question.
Why? If I had the answers to all the whys.
Yeah.
I feel like times are changing though. There used to be a strong stigma against it, but I think people are more open to it. Sad to say, I feel like therapy, mental health is kind of trendy in a sense right now.
It is.
I think a lot of people, because I've had people come to me like, I'm just here because my friends are in therapy, and then like, you know, I'm just here.
I just want to see what it's all about.
Exactly. I'm just like, okay.
I'm not mad at that though. I'm not mad at that though.
Right.
I don't know.
No, I think it's still healthy. I think it's a good thing. But I mean, just don't go and not have anything to talk about. Like,
That's
why
true.
are you here? You know,
That's
wasting
true.
your copay.
But you can at least, like, even if you're there in the door, you know, you can at least try to explore it for yourself. Like after talking, after a while, you know, building that transparency. Like, all right, maybe I am getting to the root of something or whatever like that. Because a lot of people just aren't talking to anybody at all.
Right. And I think the stigma is though, like, because of what it looks like. I mean, some people would think of somebody with mental health challenges, and it's just like the typical person with schizophrenia, you know, hearing voices and seeing things. Like, okay, I don't want to use the word crazy, but you know, like, I don't have those issues. Like, why do I don't need therapy. Like, I'm not like that.
Yeah.
Or when it's even somebody that's like with bipolar disorder, like in a manic episodes, like, I'm not like that. Like, you know, it also has its negative undertones to it, but I don't think it's not really like that. Some people think that, like, oh, because I'm going to see a therapist, that means I got problems or I'm crazy. I mean,
that's the assumption. That's the widespread assumption, though.
but everybody has problems.
Yeah.
Period. Like,
Yeah.
everybody.
Everybody.
We all, you know.
And it's almost like you don't have to shy away from it because you don't think that something is wrong with you.
Yeah.
Like, if you think about it, you call your friends, right? Or you call up your homeboys and you talk to them about certain things. Imagine if you go to somebody who is trained to really speak to you about whatever that is. Like, they can. I felt like when I was talking to her, sometimes it would just be like, hey, well, how was your day? And we're just kind of talking through things. Yeah. And she would identify something else that was really going on. And I'm like, what? That's really? That's what that was?
I mean.
And she's like, yes. I mean, and that's okay.
Because your friends are not therapists.
No.
I repeat. Your friends.
For the people in the back.
Are not
for the people
therapists.
in the back. Man.
At all. Because, you know, your friends have their own agenda.
They try hard.
Yeah.
No, because they have their own agenda and their own biases.
Sorry,
and, like,
friends.
and they will give you advice. And, you know, and it's just like, sometimes
But
not
what if
always
it's
the
like,
best.
girl, leave that man alone, girl? You know?
And some people say it for their own
That
reasons.
boy, he
you know,
ain't no
sometimes
good.
they tell you to leave that man alone, and
He eating up all
sometimes you
your
really
food.
shouldn't.
Yeah.
But she ain't a therapist, though.
Sometimes you need to be like Karen and wait it out and support your man.
That's true. So
And help him through whatever he's dealing with. Because she
Or
might
just-
also have some issues.
Or live your life and make your own mistakes.
That's real, too.
There you go.
But it's also watching, with what you just said, too, like making sure you're talking to a professional, all that. But you also have to watch, as a friend, who you're getting information from and who's giving information to you. Because, you know, it might sound good. It might be what you want to hear, you know, but it might not be what you need, like, at all.
If they genuinely perceived it in that way, then that's just their reality. I mean, sometimes people's reality can just be not realistic, and then some people are delusional.
Okay.
But sometimes, you know, people perceive things differently.
Red flag.
Like, I mean, if you have siblings, you grow up in the same house, sometimes, like, you can ask them, like, how they perceive the childhood versus as to how you perceived it. It may be different, you know, like.
Oh, totally different.
Yeah.
Even though you guys were in the same place, same time, but they just perceived it differently.
I did read somewhere that said children raised on love should not make homes with children raised on survival.
Say that one more time.
Children raised on love should not make homes with children that were raised on survival.
Wow.
Is that true?
That's deep.
I mean, that's interesting. I don't know, because it's all about, but what
they
was the
grow?
outcome, right?
Yeah.
Exactly, like, what did they get out of that? Because it's just like, I mean, somebody that may have come from an abusive home may turn out abusive, but then others may be the opposite and be more loving and caring because they've experienced that. They know like, I don't want to be that way. Like even children of alcoholics and substance abusers, you know, some of them don't drink or engage in any substance use, and some of them, you know, the cycle is repeating itself. Exactly. So I think it just all depends on the person. Like, some people are resilient, some people aren't.
I gotta ask Joyce this question.
Ask. Go ahead.
I'm about to get my feet wet real
I don't know.
quick.
That don't seem like it's a heavy question.
I know, right?
So, you know, you're a therapist and all, one of the best in the land, and you're also a black woman, you know?
I am.
Okay, and it, you know, dating is real out here.
Oh, we getting personal.
Yeah, a little. So how do you deal with the clinical, cases?
Are you on a date?
Yeah, like for real. I mean, because if I was a therapist, like licensed, I'd be like red flag out of the gate.
It would be hard to turn it off.
You deal with man-child syndrome, like
not man-child. I don't think that's a real.
It's something. It's
man-child.
Something like that. It's something like that. Fuckboyism.
I don't think that's in the book of.
That's not in the
book, just not in the one that I use.
Oh, see.
I
want to know what's in that book. So, how do you deal on a day-to-day in your personal dealings with?
I'm not always like in therapist mode. Like, I'm not always.
Yeah, but the knowledge is there though.
The knowledge is there. Yeah, like, of course I'm not gonna like disregard, but I think like I notice more things than others notice. Like, I can kind of tell, like, okay, like, what's really going on there? Like, I definitely see things from a different perspective. Okay. But I don't use it to like judge people. I mean, sometimes I have concerns about things. I think the certain questions that I ask, I'm more so of like family history type of stuff. You know, I just need to know what's going on with that.
Taking notes. Important questions.
Do we have any diagnosis within the family?
So you
and not to say that's like a deal breaker or anything like that.
No, she can't go on the show, Dom.
Oh, what show?
Married at first
sight. Oh, no.
No, she can't go on the show, Dom.
That's not for me. No. No. But because I think the average person could kind of see certain things too. So
true.
I'm not always like assessing people, but I mean, I can understand people a little bit more as to why people do certain things.
True.
Or I think I empathize a little bit more. But I'm not going to be with somebody that I have to be like their therapist in that way.
Okay.
Like, you're not just going to come to me and talk to me about your problems all the time. Although I think in a relationship, I think your partner kind of is your therapist in a sense.
In a sense.
But to a certain
covered ground.
Right. But to a certain degree.
Okay.
If that makes sense.
So advantage or disadvantage?
Being a therapist?
I mean, just having the knowledge and insight that you do as you're navigating through relationships.
I think an advantage because, like, I can see certain symptoms and certain things. Like, let's say if he does have a diagnosis, I guess I can see it ahead of time. Like, all right, well, maybe he's just not for me.
So, are you curving it? Bringing it back to you, Dom. And are you curving it like Shorty did on the show?
Oh, Karen.
He comes out clinical depression, high function anxiety, bipolar disorder. Here it is.
Well, he didn't say all that. You just gave examples.
Oh, I was just naming. I was hoping that you was gonna say which one it was. Stop me.
Clinical depression. Is
okay, that's all it was.
That's
okay,
it.
Yeah.
It's a lot. I mean, I don't know. I mean, like it's a lot to take in.
Well, he did say, cause she said, well, you know, like, I don't what does this even look like?
Yeah.
Right.
And so he said, sometimes I don't want to get out of bed. Or there are some days where I'm like real short and you know, I might snap, but I don't really mean to. I'm just like dealing with my own stuff. But then he said, I have tools. Like, I know when I'm having these moments and I have tools that I use to manage. So if I am withdrawn and I need a moment, it's not that I don't want to talk to you or be around you. I'm just dealing with whatever
my diagnosis
I'm having, whatever's going on at the time.
My episode.
Right.
social
I mean, it
media.
seems like he knows how to communicate, though, because communication is very important. Like, if you can communicate those things, that's fine. But it's still, I don't know. Like, it depends on. I mean, maybe I would be considering give it a try. I don't know. Like, it has to be like I have to be in that situation.
Okay.
It's a lot. Like, it's really
Yeah.
a lot. Like, I really can't say because I don't think I've.
I'm with you though. Like I'm not just throwing it away neither.
Right,
Like,
yeah, but it's
I would
a lot.
consider.
It's a lot to consider. Like, because
Yeah.
then it does take a toll on me too. Because I mean, we all have our own things that we deal with personally. So it's just
Yeah.
like, well, can I handle being with somebody? Because it's not really necessarily them, but it's me. Like, can I handle that? Like, can I
Yeah.
be with somebody with that? Because let's say, you know, after you have kids and you do all these things, like, is he really going to be able to manage that depression? Because it's like life hits you in different ways, you know? So it's just like,
You're gonna be able to manage. Jesus.
because I mean, you are managing it.
It is, but that's real.
but
When you have
as
major
life
depression,
changes-
you're
Yeah.
just managing it. It's always going to be there.
Yeah. Oh.
So it's a lot.
Yeah.
That is a lot. So we're coming up on the fall season, right? It's going to start getting darker earlier.
Yeah.
And there's this thing called seasonal depression, right? Which
Yeah.
I did not learn about until I moved to New York.
Yeah.
And I'm going to work, and I'm like, why is everyone? The vibe is different in here. Like, why is everybody off or like?
And it's cold as hell.
Yeah, and it's cold, right? So
sun.
then
You need the
one of
sun.
my coworkers was like, "Well, I have seasonal depression," and I was like, "Well, what? Did you just self-diagnose that?" I mean, she said, "Well, a lot of people here have it." I'm like, "Wait, what? What is that?" So I was thinking, since we're still in this time of being, you know, kind of shut in, but not really. But as it gets colder, it's
Yeah.
going to go back to that.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. Especially with what's going on.
Yeah. Do you think
man.
that that's going to be a thing during the fall and winter? Or maybe explain what it is for people who don't know, because I probably did a horrible job.
Oh no, I think you no, you explained it well. So seasonal depression is more so like in the colder months where the days are shorter, right? So it's darker in longer periods of time, and
Yeah.
people are less social. People aren't really out as much. So people become depressed because it's like you don't get the sun. The sun definitely helps with your mental state because what is that? The vitamin D helps with your endorphins.
Yeah, you
So
need that
that-
sunshine.
Right, you do.
You need that sunshine.
Yes, the sun definitely helps. And then like people are just less social, like you're alone, and even the holidays also can trigger depression too, because during those months you have Thanksgiving, New Year's, Christmas,
It's
and all the
gonna-
other holidays. And you know, for some people that's
gonna be a
not
rough
a celebrated time.
Yeah.
Right.
Some people, everybody doesn't have family, or some people have other trauma or bad memories during those seasons.
Yeah.
So yeah, seasonal depression is a thing. It is real. And what was the question?
What should people do? So
Yeah.
if you
Oh, what
So
should
like
you
yeah,
do?
the,
Okay, okay.
like the tools around it, like with what's coming up, just like Dom said in the fall, like you know, let's give we always giving playbooks,
tips.
yeah.
Yeah.
What's some tips, even some tricks to get through, even with the pandemic, to how to get through the fall and what's going on and stuff. Like I think you mentioned self awareness and self care
Right.
at the beginning.
Right.
Let's get back to that.
So personally, I think you just have to figure out what uplift your spirits and what makes you happy. Like they say chocolate is a good thing for like when you're feeling sad, but I mean you can't be eating chocolate all the time, right? The chocolate releases I can't think of the word, but it gives you something that makes you a little bit happy hour.
Not endorphins.
Is it like the
I
I'm
know what you're
not
talking
gonna-
about.
yeah,
I know what you're
everyone
talking
knows
about.
what we're talking about.
Yeah,
You can
yeah.
Google it. So chocolate releases that, and then like exercise also helps as well, or just doing things that makes you happy. We call those like positive coping skills. So
Yeah.
what gets you through? So for me personally, like exercising helps. Like even I can start the day in a bad mood. If I go run, that kind of like uplifts me a little bit. Certain foods.
That is true.
Or just doing things with other people, activities like if you're into art or DIY stuff around the home, or if you
that I like.
Right, or even like TV, if you're into comedies, things that makes you laugh, whatever it is that you enjoy doing, do more of it. But positive things, like we don't want to say go engage in like substance use. Don't go getting high all the time, because that turns into a problem. Like you can't get high every time you feel sad. That's like dependency. That's not really a good. That's not a positive coping skill. That's more like a negative one. Alcohol too, that can turn into a bad habit. A very bad one. So just things that kind of like uplift you and make you happy. Surround yourself with people that uplift you and make you happy. What else is there that you can do? And get a therapist, somebody that you can talk to, you know, and help you sort out those issues. Because sometimes with depression, it can be a situational thing, but there's always like an underlying issue of as to why you feel the way that you do. Maybe, you know, you might feel unfulfilled, or whatever it is in your relationship, or like just life in general. Life is hard. So
it's real.
It gets harder as you get older, when you start really realizing things. Like I remember in the early 20s, you know, like woo, have fun, and then once you hit like 27, 28, you start really, like, I don't know what it is, your brain is wired, your eyes are open, and you just start noticing things, even with your interactions with people. Maybe, I don't know, maybe that's just me, because I'm like a people person. I accept everyone for who you are. Like if that's how you act, then I mean, okay, like I could still be cool with you. I just know I gotta navigate a little differently around you.
That's accountability.
Is that accountability or enabling though?
It could be. It could be. It could be. But then you start to realize, like, this person, they got a little, something's wrong. There's a problem. I need to not hang around you anymore.
It's like she's been enabling, but now she's holding herself accountable.
Yeah. I mean, you just, or was that like me being naive as a younger person?
Or catching your naivety. Or you're catching it, like you're catching, like, dang, I was this naive, sure, you know,
or
like
you probably like tolerated more or didn't really care. Like I think as you get older, it's just like you kind of more protective of your own space and your energy and your own mental health. And it's just like, I can't deal with all the BS that you come with. So it's either like you fix that or I'm gonna move on.
We can't be friends.
Right, because if you're like,
we always sing.
Because if you're like, oh, you're this way, and that's the way you are, and I'm gonna just like accept you for the way you are and allow you to continue to do those things. And I mean, there's certain behaviors and ways that people have that are like, okay, like I just have to accept them for it. But when it's like kind of detrimental to you and them, it's just like you're kind of enabling them, because you're just like, okay, I'm still gonna be your friend, and you can still do all these things to me, to us, or whoever. It's like you're enabling the behavior. They're never going to stop. It's going to continue, and it's toxic. So
even when you stop enabling, you get labeled as, you know, it becomes like a victim role, because you're not helping the situation anymore, because you're not fueling the fire. So now it's like, you're the,
do we think
it's crazy?
Dave Chappelle held Kanye accountable when he went up to see him in those mountains?
I think so.
You think so?
I think so.
Okay.
I don't think Dave Chappelle just gonna just.
But then Kanye continued to do and say the things that he was doing after Dave Chappelle left.
Yeah. You can only lead the horse to water.
Right. I mean, Dave Chappelle is a friend. I mean, these celebrities and their relationship with Kanye is interesting, because Kanye is not the typical mentally ill person. Like, the average person is just like me and you. We were dealing with something, but he has money. He's a billionaire.
Kanye has things that he can't be crazy if he's a billionaire.
No, that has nothing to do with it. I'm just saying that this behavior can be enabled because he's a billionaire. He has money. He can get away with a lot of things that he's doing.
That's
people
fair.
are looking at him differently, or they want to be around him because Kanye makes great music. You know, and he has these Yeezys. I don't know, like in the clothing line and all of that. So it's just like, they probably still want to continue to have that relationship with him because they benefit from being friends with him.
That's true.
But at the end of the day, I mean, we all know that he is wrong and he needs help.
He needed help when he said
George Bush doesn't like black people.
Yes.
But we were
He was on point then.
Kanye.
He was on point
Yes,
though.
but
Okay,
nobody was like, okay, that's actually kind of crazy.
But
it's
I mean,
not
we
even,
enabled it
but
because
it's
he
just
said
like
something
how
good.
it was just so random and like it was at the wrong time. It was very impulsive. It was a manic episode. It was very impulsive. Like
look at the therapist. They said it was a manic
this
episode.
is why the resident wellness coach, yo.
like
the
he was literally,
resident
they were like doing like a
therapist, yo.
fundraiser, right?
Yeah.
Raising money for Hurricane Katrina, and then you're just out of nowhere.
He was next to Mike Myers.
And
Austin Powers.
And he's out of nowhere. George Bush is like, what are you talking about right now?
It's
Like,
true.
what are you talking about
He said
right
the
now?
truth though.
The truth, but
I don't
at
think
that time,
I think he just has episodes. Just
but
like you
was
said.
it really the truth though?
Does George Bush like black people?
I
More
don't know.
than the person we got now.
I mean, are him and Michelle Obama like
Damn,
BFFs?
dog.
BFFs,
Right?
they're like friends.
Damn.
Him and Auntie Shelly are cool. You
And
hear
what's
me?
funny is that
Damn.
okay, so you're making the point that okay,
That's
he was
true.
right at that moment, but look, like he's so up Trump's. Can I curse? He,
Yes, you can curse.
he's so up Trump's ass
We'll mark
right
this
now.
episode E for explicit now.
Yes.
Yeah.
Like you like Kanye, you're contradicting yourself because you were getting on poor George Bush, but now like you're buddy with Trump. Like, please make it make sense.
Please, you and your wife.
I'm praying for my bro Kanye, man.
I guess
You don't
she's
just
doing
make
nice
hit. You
things,
don't
though.
just make stances and hits like that. You don't make college dropout and then just go
But that
left,
was the
man.
last good
He's
one.
he's still in there somewhere.
That was the last good one.
Kanye
What was
beyond
that
all.
after that? Dark Fantasy?
No,
Or-
Graduation.
What was after that?
I think the dark fantasy was after
That-
graduation.
808s and Heartbreaks. CJ,
Oh,
help me
808s
out.
and
I
Then-
like that.
Yeah.
808s, yeah.
808s and Heartbreaks, and then it was My Twisted Dark Fantasy. Then late registration. That's the one I was thinking about. Yeah, late registration.
Kanye West, he makes
that
great
Kanye
music.
is still there, like beyond all the mental.
He's not taking the medications.
He
Joyce
is not
said
well. He's
he's-
not well. He's not stable. Like
Yeah.
he needs intensive treatment. Like yeah.
Like admitted, and like, does he need to go to a facility to stay?
In your professional opinion,
He would benefit from it. I think
that
he
was
does
such a
need
good
it.
answer.
She's good.
Joyce is good. Joyce is good.
I think he would benefit from like inpatient treatment for the fact that like he just needs some stabilization within his mood. Like it's just
Yeah.
not. It's just not regulated.
Yeah.
It's just
No.
all over the place.
I feel bad.
And this is like every day. It's just like these rants, and it's what's funny is though like people are so like blinded by who he is,
His stature.
and they're just like not paying attention. I'm just like,
Yeah.
this man has been showing these like when he would do concerts and stuff, he would have these rants at the end.
Yo, hour and 30 minutes.
like
Right.
DMX.
But DMX
But
was
DMX
actually
was
praying.
on drugs at that point.
He was
though.
praying, and he was actually on like hard drugs.
Right, exactly. So like,
And praying.
And praying for all of us.
but you know, like Kanye was not well. Even then, at that point, because I've been to a couple of concerts, he would start ranting. I'm just like, all right, it's time to go because I don't know what is he talking about? What is he
They
even talking about?
Willie Lynch me in front of the crowd. That was like.
But that are one of the symptoms
What?
of bipolar. You just have like these rapid thoughts of ideas, and you're just going and ranting. It doesn't even make sense half
His
the
rapid
time.
thoughts of ideas made him a billionaire, though.
Did it though?
I feel like all of this. I mean, I don't feel like what he has is not something that just comes over you, right? You
Right.
have it for a while, but I think what was keeping it controlled was his mother. And when his mother, like
Donda.
I done told y'all,
Donda.
when you lose a parent, if you don't seek the proper help, I could have been Kanye.
Donda.
No, I mean you can't just like develop bipolar disorder.
Well, okay, not to
Need
that
you, Donda.
extent, but like I could have,
We need
maybe
Donda.
gone a little
right.
sideways and
But
come
then
back.
also I've heard that he did have the diagnosis previously from what I've heard. But his mother was more so helping him in his treatment and making sure that he was
Managing it.
Yeah.
getting the proper treatment and taking medications. Because I think at times I don't think he's consistent with it.
Yeah,
Like I've heard in
yeah.
interviews where he's just like, well, I feel like a superhero, and he's called himself all these things, and he doesn't like who he is when he's medicated, which I understand because from what I've heard from people, like you kind of feel zombie-like when you're under medication, and I understand you don't want to feel that way.
Yeah, indeed. Indeed.
Oh, it's actually a good show that had an example of that on Hulu.
Uh-oh, plug your show.
Big Mouth.
No,
I like Big Mouth.
The white guy. He's a rapper. I think it's like
Lil
Dave.
Dicky.
Dave.
Yes, Lil
Dave.
Dicky,
Hi,
yes.
I'm Dave.
Oh,
Yes.
that was a good show.
I'm
That
Dave.
was good.
So his friend, the one
Gator.
yes, that co-signs for
Yeah.
him. Remember? I don't know if you saw that episode.
Yeah,
where
I did.
He
I
was
did.
and he was telling him, he was like, I have bipolar disorder, because he was like always so hyped.
Yes.
And then one day he
Yes.
just came in there very like calm and
Yeah.
zombie like.
He's
and
on
it was like, well, what
medication.
is going on with
And
you?
then didn't he like go off or something?
He went off in the
Right.
store, in the shoe
Yeah.
store, with
Yeah.
his mom. With his mom.
Yeah,
That's
he had
crazy.
like a couple of episodes in
that
the
was
past.
that was a good show. See, now mental health is out in the streets.
Yeah.
It's being written into television shows.
It is. It
We are
is.
talking about it.
It is.
Everyone needs to do what they have to do to get the help that they need.
Yes.
You can hit up Joyce.
Yes.
Yes, you can.
If
Tell
you
them where to
need some
find you.
help.
Yes, you can go to my website, districtwellness.org.
Okay.
I have Instagram. It's District Wellness CO.
Okay.
That's the at. What is that called? A handle, or I don't know.
Yes. Yes.
Yes.
She's such a therapist. Such a therapist. I love it. And where can they find us, Dom?
You can find us at BHURDE Podcast on Instagram.
Yeah.
If you feeling sexy
Oh yeah.
and you want to email us,
Oh yeah.
you
We
can
like
find
emails.
us at bheardpodcast@gmail.com.
I love it, Joyce. We like doing round twos around here, so
Yes,
you
this
might have to
is
work your way
fun.
back on here.
Yes.
yo.
We're definitely gonna have you back.
I feel like we didn't even touch everything.
We did it. That's why I was,
It's
we
a lot.
got to sum this back up again.
So
we got to
much
get this back
more.
up again. You very well informed. You know, so much of an expert in your field, and you're very articulate. You know, for the people to give them what they need to translate it for them. And I really hope a lot of people, took a lot of the tips away for the
Yes.
for themselves, for the fall, for whatever you need. Like this is what it's here for. It's for you. You know, Dom. Anything else?
Thanks for joining us.
Thanks for having me.
Yes, thanks for being here, Joyce. And as usual, if you're listening, you're part of the herd. Just be you, be true, be heard.
Drop the bomb.
Kaboom!